Chronological Bible, number 27, Abraham
life in
intercedes for
Exodus
Sodom.
days. The Chronological Bible just puts the Bible books in chronological order, the timelines and everything. It's like watching history from beginning all the way into the end with the revelations. And it does because of the proper timeline. Stories intermix with each other, which I like it because I like to watch the history of the world. It also is pretty cool how they mix up the Psalms with the stories, like with David and Bathsheba in Psalms 51, and hearing him pray like he's praying and he's running from Absalom, and they throw the Psalms in there. It makes the story a little bit deeper. But this is the Chronological Bible. Let's get into it. We're going to be in Abraham intercedes for Sodom, because God's about to go over there and take them out, because we know what Sodom means and why it becomes a sin, right? Sodomite. And this is Genesis chapter 18 verse 16.
Genesis 18:16.
And then the men rose from there and looked toward Sodom. And Abraham went with them unto
PG 27.
And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham? What am I doing? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him, in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord, and to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has spoken to him. And the Lord said, Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave, I will go down now, and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me, and if not, I will know. And then the men turned away from there, and went toward Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And Abraham came near and said, Would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there was 50 righteous within a city. Would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? So the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake. Then Abraham answered and said, Indeed now, I, who I am but dust and ashes, have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose there was 5 less than the 50 righteous. Would you destroy all the city for lack of 5? And so he said, If I find there 45, I will not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, Suppose there should be 40 found there. So he said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. And then he said, Let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Suppose 30 should be found there. And so he said, I will not do it if I find 30. And he said, Indeed now, I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 should be found there. And so he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. And then he said, Let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak but once more. Suppose 10 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. So the Lord went his way as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. Genesis chapter 19, verse 1.
Genesis
Now the
19.
2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground. And he said, Hear now, my lords, please turn in to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet, and then you may rise early and go on your way. And they said, No, but we will spend the night in the open square. But he insisted strongly. So they turned in to him and entered his house. And then he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before And they laid down the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both the old and young, all the people from every quarter surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, that we may know them carnally. So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind them, and said, Please, my brethren, do not do so wickedly. See now, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them as you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have come under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. Then they said, This one come in to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them, and they shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they became weary trying to find the door. Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed. Genesis chapter 19, verse 12. Then the men said to Lot, Have you anyone else here, son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever you have in the city? Take them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the outcry against it has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out, and he spoke to his son-in-law, who had married his daughters, and he said, Get up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this place. But to his son-in-law he seemed to be joking. And when the morning dawned, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, Arise, and take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. And while he lingered, the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hands, and the hands of his 2 daughters. And the Lord, being merciful to him, they brought him out, and he set him outside of the city. And so it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, that he said, Escape for your life. Do not look behind, nor stay anywhere near the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed. Then Lot said to them, Please, no, my lord. Indeed, now your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have increased your mercy, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. And see now, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there. It is not a little one, and my soul shall live. And he said to him, See, I have found favor you concerning this thing also, and that I will not overthrow the city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there. Therefore the name of the city was called Zorah. The sun had risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zorah. And then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plains and all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham went early in the morning into the place where he had stood before the Lord. And then he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and towards all the land and the plains. And he saw, and behold, the smoke of the land, which went up like the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the city of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst, and he overthrew it. And when he was over there, he overthrew the cities which Lot had dwelt. I have to say that I never understood completely why Lot would offer his daughters to those crazy Sodomite, because we know where Sodomite comes from, Sodom and Gomorrah. Why he would offer his daughters up like that to the men when the angels could have took them out. But I get the faith about it, anything for the Lord. But, they would have raped and killed them, right? And the angels could have took them out. But I guess it's the faith that commit, and God would have probably protected them. God bless you all.